The global meat industry produces hundreds of billions of pounds of meat every year. But in recent years, scientists have raised a pretty strange question. What if we can keep the livestock alive while still keeping steak on your plate? No barns, no herds, no 5 a.m. rooster alarms. Not plant-based, not a meat substitute. Actual animal muscle, grown from cells. Which sounds like science fiction, or something that would accidentally create a supervillain in a movie, but it's real. Companies are already doing this right now inside facilities that look less like farms and more like breweries that took a very unexpected career turn. Welcome to the world of lab-grown meat, or cultivated meat, where scientists are figuring out how to grow real meat from just a handful of cells. We're breaking down what it is, how it's made, and where the industry stands today. So, what exactly is this stuff? This isn't some chemical concoction or a fake substitute. We are talking about 100% real, bona fide animal meat. It's made of the exact same muscle and fat cells as the steak you buy at the butcher. It just started its life in a bioreactor instead of on a ranch. Now, is this the same as that plant-based burger you've seen in the grocery aisle? Absolutely not. Plant-based meats are clever imitations made from soy, peas, or grains to mimic the taste of meat. Cultivated meat, however, is the real deal. It's biologically identical to traditional meat because it is animal tissue. If you avoid meat entirely, this probably doesn't change much. But if the concern is how animals are raised and processed, this is where things start to get interesting. How do they actually grow a steak? It all starts with a tiny sample. Scientists take a small cluster of stem cells from a living animal, like a cow, chicken, or even a fish. The procedure uses local anesthetics so the animal isn't harmed and hopefully goes back to doing whatever cows, chickens, or fish do for fun. These stem cells are the magic cells. They're unspecialized, meaning they can turn into muscle, fat, or connective tissue. Basically, they're the ultimate overachievers of the animal kingdom. Once they have the cells, they need to keep them happy. They place them in a nutrient-rich broth or growth medium. This liquid is packed with vitamins, sugars, and proteins, everything the cells would normally get from an animal's bloodstream. The lab carefully controls the temperature and oxygen levels, tricking the cells into thinking they're still living the high life inside a cow. These cells are then moved to massive tanks called bioreactors. That single cell begins to divide and multiply at an incredible rate. But a pile of cells isn't a steak yet. To give the meat structure, scientists use scaffolding, an edible framework that helps the cells organize into the right shapes. For something simple, like a chicken nugget or a burger, they just mold the tissue. But for a fancy cut like a ribeye, that's when they might break out a 3D printer to fine-tune the texture and fat distribution. It's basically meat, but with a side of engineering. The tech exists, the steaks exist, so what's stopping us from seeing them in stores? The industry is in a bit of a paradoxical bind. While the technology is incredible, the business side is struggling. Regulation is the biggest bottleneck. In regions like Europe and North America, intense government scrutiny has slowed things down. Startups need to prove they can scale up to survive, but they can't scale up until they get regulatory approval to sell to the masses. It's a classic chicken and egg problem, except in this case, the chicken isn't even on the farm. If you want to taste today, you've got to know where to look. For now, it's mostly a niche product found in high-end restaurants, and even in 2026, many companies are still fighting to get their products onto supermarket shelves, which is part of why the price is still so high. Let's talk about your wallet. The first ever lab burger in 2013 cost a mind-blowing $330,000. By 2015, scientists had cut it to about $11 per patty. Even in 2026, high-end lab-grown beef can still run hundreds of dollars per pound. The goal, bringing it down to the $8 to $16 per pound you pay for regular beef without breaking the bank. The environmental stakes are massive too. Traditional livestock accounts for up to 18% of all greenhouse gases. Cultivated beef could potentially slash that carbon footprint by 92%. It also uses significantly less land and water. To make just 1 kilo of traditional beef, you need about 15,000 liters of water. Lab meat could do it with a fraction of that. There's a catch. Some studies suggest that if we don't use renewable energy, the massive amount of electricity needed to run these bioreactors could actually produce more CO2 than traditional farming in the long run. For this to be a win for the Earth, the factories must be powered by green energy. Cultivated meat offers a way to keep the meat we love while ditching the brutal factory farming sector. It's a tech-heavy solution to a very old human problem. By 2030, analysts predict cultivated meat could snag a serious chunk of the global protein market, if the infrastructure can keep up. It's a multi-billion-dollar puzzle, but if it comes together, it could completely change the way we eat. So, are you ready for the clean meat revolution? It's real meat, it's coming to a store near you, and it might just save the planet, or at least change how we produce food forever. The question is, when it's finally sitting on your plate, will you be brave enough to take that first bite? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech briefs. We'll catch you in the next one.